Hey, and welcome back. I'm going to talk about something that comes up a lot in my work, and it's something a lot of people have been through, and that is how to heal from a breakup. So, today's topic for my video is something that comes up for a lot of people, unless you were fortunate enough to meet your life partner and it was right first shot. A lot of us have been through breakups, and it's something that, I've certainly been through and experienced, and I have sort of learned how to deal with it, I guess, to recover as quickly as possible. So, and as smoothly as possible without denying yourself the chance to process your feelings. So, yeah, it is something that comes up in readings an awful lot. People are in that place, they're going through that pain, that hurt, that whole feeling, and I often want to reassure them and say it is going to get better. You're not going to feel like this forever. So, when you're looking at the energetic principles of a breakup, from an energy perspective, what you've essentially got is your energy and your partner's energy, and your partner's energy becomes sort of enmeshed with yours, and you have connected points of energy, so to speak. So when that separation or that breakup happens, and the more drastic it is, the more it hurts generally, the faster it happens, you've all of a sudden got kind of like broken connections and gaps in your energy where your partner's energy used to be, where you're connected together. So you're going to feel that, and that can be quite a shocking feeling, especially if it happens suddenly, and often more so for the partner who didn't initiate the breakup, who was all of a sudden shocked, and that energy is torn away. So you are going to feel that. Don't feel bad about yourself if you do. It's completely normal. So the first step is to take your time. It takes however long it takes. It's grieving. You're grieving for something that's gone from your life, and that will take you however long it takes. It's a personal journey. Some people bounce back quicker than others, and that's okay. Some people have deeper emotions and need to process them at their own pace and at their own rate. So don't ever feel like if people say to you, oh, you should be over that by now. Don't feel bad about it if you don't feel okay yet. So number 2 is, even if it wasn't a great relationship, even downright awful, you've still got to grieve for the dream. You've got to grieve for what you wanted it to be, for all the hopes and desires you had for this relationship, even if they didn't happen. You still had those desires and dreams and wanted those things with that person, and you need to grieve for that, because that needs to be let go of, and that takes a little bit of time too. That's a bit of a process, and I've certainly been there, in a relationship that was completely wrong for me, and I later found out more truths, but initially I had to grieve for all the hopes I had for it, even though they weren't probably based on reality. They weren't things that were actually likely to happen in that relationship. So, but I still had those hopes and dreams, and so do we all when we form a partnership or relationship with somebody. We have certain hopes for that. So even if we're not looking too far ahead, there's certain hopes that it will be a nice connection, a good connection, and we can maybe grow with this person. Number 3, adjusting takes time, especially if you've lived with this person. Your whole life's going to change, because quite often couples fall into, certain patterns of one person does this, the other person does that, and they sort of rub along quite well together. And then when that person's gone, boom, you all of a sudden go, oh, hang on a minute, I got to do that. I actually watched a friend whose wife had actually died, which was very sad, but he had to go through a lot of adjustments and go, oh my gosh, this is how it is now. I have to do this, or I have to look at that, and so it's a learning curve. So give yourself time to do that too. Enjoy the new challenges, learn some new things. It can be fun. I remember my first ever really long single stint was very early in my 30s, and I just really enjoyed learning how to do lots of practical things. It was a lot of fun. It was, yes, a little challenge to myself to grow and learn how to fix things and do things and stuff like that. So that was one of my, silver linings to that. Number 4, choose who you talk to. We've all been there when we've tried to open our heart and share our hurt, our sadness with somebody, and they just don't get it. They just don't get it. They don't understand. They don't relate, and they may even minimize it and make you feel bad for not feeling okay, which is really counterproductive. Feeling bad for feeling bad is a vicious circle, so don't go there. So if you've got people like that around you, they might be nice people, but they're just not the right people to support you right now. So if you've got absolutely no one, even go to join some online support groups and things like that, somewhere where you can be real and share how you actually feel, not how you're supposed to feel by now. So getting some real genuine support. A real genuine friend will, even though they may not understand everything you're feeling, they will accept that that's how you feel and be supportive. And for men it's even worse, I think. I've heard the things men say to other men when they're heartbroken. Oh, plenty of other fish in the sea. Come on, come out, get drunk. Most people, when they're really upset and get drunk, actually feel really awful and end up really upset, and it's not always the best thing to do when you're really hurting. It might make you feel better temporarily, but you'll feel worse afterwards. So don't listen to people like that. If you're a man and all your guy friends are like that, talk to a female friend. They're more likely to relate on the emotional level, because women are kind of conditioned by society to nurture and relate to people emotionally more than men are. Some men are beautiful and open and warm and very, very understanding. I've got some lovely male friends who totally get that sort of stuff. So I'm not being sexist here, but that is the average bloke who just will try and find you a one night stand or something to make you feel better. Okay, number 5, how long you were with that person is not always an indicator of how bad you feel. One of my relationships, which actually was more off than on over quite a few years, but if you actually counted how long we were actually together, it wasn't very long at all. But it was kind of intense, because the amount of intensity and trauma and breakups and getting back together and stuff like that. And that kind of intensity, if you've gone through a very, very intense connection, even if it was short term, it creates what they call trauma bonds. You're actually bonded by the drama, by the hurt, by the pain from that. And so that can be just as intense as a relationship that's lasted longer but is broken up amicably and peacefully. So give yourself time, even if it was only for a short period of time, but it was very intense and hurtful and difficult. You're going to feel bad afterwards. It's just the way it goes. So number 7, download some relaxation or meditation music. If you can, put it in your phone or an MP3 player or whatever, and give yourself time to just lie back and listen to that and allow your body to relax. And it's very soothing, it's very good. It makes you feel calm and less emotional and wound up. Number 8. Oh, I missed number 6. Sorry. Number 6, be kind to yourself. Self-nurture. Treat yourself. It needs to be a project. Take yourself as your own big project right now and do really good things for yourself, whether that's having some beautiful essential oils and a bubble bath, buying yourself flowers, having a facial, having a massage, taking an afternoon off from doing stuff and just reading a book and chilling out, or having a weekend away, or whatever works for you. make sure you do that. Self-love and self-nurturing are the key to healing. You absolutely need to do that. You know, the more you can love yourself, the faster you heal. And by doing nice things for yourself, you're giving your inner being, your emotional self, the message that you care, that you love yourself, and it will speed up your healing, that's for sure. And remember, you will heal. It will happen. I mean, I've been there where I've felt so all over the place and had no idea how I was ever going to feel better. But, you know, as I've gotten older, I'm 50 now, and I've had some breakups. I do know, even at that time, I know, okay, this is only short term. I am going to feel better. I'm going to feel whole. I'm going to feel happy again, you know. That is just really going to happen. Absolutely. Number 9, this is for people who've come out of something abusive or, you know, emotionally abusive as well. I'm not just talking about physically. Go no contact with that person. Don't keep text arguing or phone arguing with them, or, you know, as long as you don't have children together. But even if you do have children, then minimize it and keep any communication about the children, not yourself and what you're doing. But yeah, if there's been abuse and things like that, or you're getting a hard time via text or whatever, block them. Block them on social media, because if you're watching them on Facebook and they're having a great time and getting out and about and doing whatever with however many other people, or whatever they're doing to cope with their end of it, you don't need to see that, and you don't want to see that. It'll just make you feel worse. So if it's been traumatic, yeah, I highly recommend no contact. It's the best way to completely heal and detach. It's hard at first, but I think it stops you from constantly being triggered. If you keep getting triggered, you can't really heal. So yeah, do try that if you've, you know, if it's been a bit traumatic, the breakup. Number 10, try not to rush into another relationship. Now, that's something I did when I was young, so I know that. And it generally I wasn't very clear when I met people in that state. I know that. I wasn't very perceptive. I was kind of needy and distraught and wound up, and it's not a good place to make a sound judgment on who you want to be with. And so, yeah, try not to do that, because quite often we don't make the best choices when we're coming from that place. So take your time, spend some time with yourself, spend some time with friends. Yeah, but don't get too involved or too attached to somebody new too fast while you're still grieving. It's also hard for them, because you're still hung up on this other person and what happened there, or hurt from it or whatever. And it doesn't leave you clear to begin another new relationship. And I know that is there, because straight after a breakup, you've got that gap in your energy, that hole that person has left, you know, that bit of space. And you will refill that yourself. That will pad out with self-love and kindness. That will repair itself. But if you, you know, in that desperate mode of, I need somebody, I can't be by myself, that tends to attract people who like to be a little bit controlling and things like that quite often. So be wary of that, because they kind of pick up on people's vulnerability at that point. So be careful. If you choose to, be very careful and take your time and go slowly. Number 11, if you're not feeling a bit better after a couple of months or something like that, don't be afraid to go and get some help. You know, do some asking around. You don't want to just go to anybody. I remember many years ago when I was in a bad situation, I got sent to this counsellor by my doctor. Well, she suggested it. I didn't get sent, and I went, okay, that might be a good idea to talk to somebody. Well, this person was completely wrong. She was into psychodrama and wanted me to talk to teddy bears and chairs and act it all out, and that just wasn't me. I felt very uncomfortable the entire time and really couldn't do the teddy bear thing. So I walked out of there and luckily met somebody who actually became one of my best friends. So it was good. And yeah, she handled what I had to say and she gave me the feedback I needed. I think we talked with each other once and she said, yeah, you know what you need to do, really. You just needed to get it off your chest. So yeah, be choosy, ask around, see who's good at that sort of thing, who you can talk to. But if you're not feeling better after a couple of months or something, if you're feeling maybe worse or just so down and out and so depressed, it is worth getting some unconditional help, and that's what you'll get from a professional, from a counsellor or a psychologist, because they have no vested interest in what you do, and they'll be completely there for you, which can be very helpful, and they can also help you with some tools to perk yourself up again to feel better. So don't ever feel ashamed to do that. There's nothing wrong with it. If our car breaks down, we go and find somebody who can fix it, who knows about them. It's the same with if we're feeling broken and it goes on for too long. There's no shame in talking to somebody who knows a lot about feelings and emotions and how to deal with them. So yeah, these are just some of the tips that I quite often try to give my clients when they're going through that, and try and get them to slow down and not rush out and try and fill that gap straight away, because it doesn't always lead to good things. And to take some time and love themselves. It's your perfect opportunity to practice self-love, you know, to absolutely embrace it, to love yourself, to care for yourself, to nurture yourself. So try and take it as a journey. It is a journey. The healing is a journey. And yes, you will feel better again and you will heal. So anyway, leave some comments about what you've done if you've been through this to help you heal and feel better and things like that. Or if you've got any questions, yeah, put them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, because that means that YouTube shows my videos. You know, their whole ranking algorithm is quite dependent on that, so that people can see that. So anyway, that was my wee ramble about breakups for today, and lots of love, and I'll see you in my next video.